New year, new start, same old bullshit. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife, and today I am wrapping up my book goals that I had in 2024 and also giving you the lowdown on my goals for 2025. This is the time of year where people will really start to look backwards but also look forwards and think about the things that they have done and the things that they want to get done. I set together a full list of things that I wanted to achieve within 2024 to do with my reading, to do with my channel, and I had varying degrees of success. So I've taken a look at what happened in 2024, and that is going to be shaping the ideas for 2025. The first goal was to read 100 books throughout the year, and I did do this, but not as well as I think I was expecting to. Last year I read 127 books, but this year wasn't exactly as successful as that. This year I only managed to reach 100 books in around November, and that was really late for me considering other years it's usually been around August to October kind of time. So I felt like I was on a really bad timeline for myself, and I'm actually only on course to finish the year out with about 113 books, which is fine. Everybody reads at a different pace and everybody reads at a different way. So me not getting over 120 books is fine, because I still reached my goal of 100. And I don't know why I have that mental blocker in my head. That means that I didn't do what I wanted to do, even though I did. In tandem with this, I also wanted to save €1 for every single book that I read in a kind of a virtual jar. I use the Revolut banking app, and this has virtual jars that you can set up to save for anything. So I have been putting €1 into this jar for every single book that I have finished throughout 2024, and at the end of the year, or at the start of the following year, I get to go on a guilt-free shopping spree. I can buy anything that I want. It doesn't necessarily have to be books. It can be a makeup item that I've been looking for, or it can be something for the house that I've been really wanting. It doesn't matter what it is, but I can buy it whatever I want. And I don't have to sit back and think, oh, but my gas bill is coming up at the end of this month. Oh, but I really need to pay off this credit card bill. It does not matter. Whatever I want to buy, it's mine. And I have been doing that pretty well. I am very stringent about this, and every time that I will log a book on Goodreads or the Storygraph, I will instantly go over to Revolut and put the money into the jar as well so that I don't forget to do it. And I have been keeping really on track with that. Another numbers one was that I wanted to keep my TBR under 50 books. And that was just the physical TBR because I am looking to move in 2025. So I don't want to have a big amount of books that I'm going to have to carry with me. This one I managed to do. The last time that I took a look at my physical TBR, I had 46 books on there. All of the books behind me on my shelves are a mixture of my physical TBR and the books that I have read, enjoyed, and want to keep. So I might have to go through that again with another fine-tooth comb and decide whether or not these books are actually going to stay. But in terms of the goal for the physical TBR, box ticked. Across 2024, I really wanted to put a little bit more emphasis on reading NetGalley books because there's a reason that I've gone to pick them out. There is a reason that I have gone to request them. There is a reason that they have been sent to me specifically, and that is to read them. And I really wanted to try and read a minimum of 2 NetGalley books per month. It felt like this was something doable because it's not necessarily this is read 2 fantasy books. It's not necessarily this is read 2 nonfiction books. It's just read 2 books that you know you're going to enjoy. It's just that this is the specific way that you have come to acquire them. And that did not work. I did get about 3/4 of the way to this goal because I read 19 books that originally came from NetGalley throughout 2024. That doesn't necessarily mean that I read the NetGalley copy. I might have listened to an audiobook of a book that is now published, but I didn't get to where I wanted to be. I do think I need to take a little bit of a further look with NetGalley for next year because it has spiraled out of control for me. I have gone on requesting sprees time and time again, like a child in a sweet shop whose eyes are the size of saucepans. And I will request about 20 books in one go, and we get probably about 15 of those have been approved, and then I won't read them, which doesn't add up. It's not the reason that people use NetGalley. So it's definitely one that I need to sit back and be a lot more stringent about next year. I also wanted to complete the 2 year-long reading challenges that I always take part in, the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge and the Buzzwordathon. That was, again, varying degrees of success. The Buzzwordathon was really successful. I managed to do all 12 in the exact months that I wanted them to be done in, but the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge didn't work for me. I managed to finish the year with 42 of the prompts ticked off, which was 8 of them that weren't done. And those were 8 prompts that I felt for me were going to be a little bit difficult to fill in. It was a book that was set in space. There was a book that is set in the future. There was a book that is about K-pop. And those are just not things that I'm going to reach for. So when I was trying to put books together that would fit into the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, these were never ones that had come to mind for me. I also wanted to read at least 75% of every TBR. I put together a seasonal TBR every single season, so spring, summer, autumn, and winter, with 6 books on them, apart from winter, which only has 4 on them, because I know that in winter my readings tend to change. I don't have a lot of time. I am going to visit a lot of family and friends when I'm back in Ireland. I have a lot of work pressure coming towards the end of the year when projects need to be finished up. So I just know that I don't naturally have as much time as usual. But I definitely didn't take off every single one of those. I think for most of the TBRs, I would need to have read 5 of the 6 books, and for winter, I would have need to read 3 of the 4. Now, obviously, winter is still running, so there is the opportunity for me to do that, but at present, I've only got 50% of the winter TBR read, and there were a couple of seasonal TBRs where I hadn't read 2 of the books, which would definitely put me under that 75% mark. I also set myself the challenge of reading a book in German that I hadn't previously read in English. This was something that I really wanted to do to see just how far my language level has come. I have been living in Germany for 7 years. I had studied German in school and I have got a fairly high command of the language, but I wanted to see if I was actually able to understand a story that I hadn't experienced before in my native language. And this is half done. I did try and read a book in German. I tried to read one of the Lee Child books in German, but it was a story that I had never experienced. It was a completely different way of thinking to the one that I think I was going to do. I was expecting to read something a bit lighter, something a bit fluffier, something like a contemporary book, but I had been given a thriller and I had been told to read it. It didn't work very well for me. I think I lost my way about 50 or so percent of the way through because it was just a little bit too complicated for me. I do think if I had gone with a different genre, this is definitely one that I would have been able to tick off. My final challenge for myself was to host sprints a lot more, and including hosting sprints alone. And I definitely did do that throughout the year. I set up my own little series of wheel of sprints where I would spin a wheel that would determine how long we were going to sprint for. And it was from 5 minutes to 90 minutes. And I had so much fun doing those, but after a little while, I just naturally stopped doing them. And I don't know why that is, because I had a really good time doing them. I had a really good routine set up. I had some people who would come back now and then. And I even had a couple of people who asked, hey, you haven't been doing Friday sprints for a while. Is everything okay? Are they going to be coming back? So I know that people were enjoying it. I just got really busy around a couple of weekends in, I think it was May or June, and things just never picked back up after that. And so, with the success of 2024 behind us, let's take a look at 2025 and with the intentions that I have in there. First one hasn't changed. Read 100 books per year. I don't want to put myself under more pressure to go read 120 books, read 150 books, when I know that even reaching 100 was a bit of a struggle for me this year. I don't want to put myself under any kind of time constraints. I don't want to put myself under pressure to continue reading books that I am not enjoying, and also just to reach for books for the numerical goal. It doesn't make sense to me to do that. So I'm just going to keep it for the 3rd year in a row at 100 books. And in tandem with that, I'm also going to keep saving that €1 for every book that I read. I really enjoyed, over the last few years, watching that number tick up slowly and then going on that little guilt-free spending spree at the end of the year. My other goal for 2025 is that I want to maintain my physical TBR under 50 books. At the moment, it's at 46, which is very doable, but there are going to be fluctuations throughout the year. I'm going to haul a couple of things. I'm going to unhaul a couple of things. My birthday is in the middle of the year and Christmas at the end of the year. So those will kind of bookmark 2 really big areas in my life where I will just naturally get a lot more books. But I'll also be reading them. I'll also be taking books off of my TBR. So I'm hoping that the seesaw is going to keep a little bit more balanced throughout this year. Something that is brand new for this year, and something that I never thought I would be the person to put this on a goals list, is to make and keep up with a ratings blanket. I have started knitting a lot more in 2024. I had been kind of on and off, very casually knitting. I started it much more throughout the pandemic, and then I put the needles down and didn't pick them up for a really long time. but I've really gotten into a swing with it lately. I've been making a couple of gifts for friends. I've been testing out doing a couple of things. And this year I really want to have something tangible that at the end of the year I can look back and say, this is something that I made. It is completely unique and it's mine. So what I decided to do was to make a ratings blanket for the entire year. So I have got different colors for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 stars. Everything is going to be rounded down. And I've also got a separate color for non-fiction books, which if you know my channel, I don't rate non-fiction books. So everything is going to have its own color, everything is going to have its own system. And by the end of 2025, possibly also into 2026, depending on how long it gets, I will have something that I can look back and say, I made this and it's mine. I would really like to read a physical library book every 2 months. I did read a couple of library books across 2024, but the majority of those were actually Libby holds. So I don't think that that's necessarily the way that I wanted to do this, because I wanted to try and focus on my own local physical bricks and mortar library. So what I'm going to do in 2025 is every couple of weeks after work, I'm going to head down to my local library and take a look at the shelves and see what they've got to offer. A library is such a great resource to readers because it gives you the opportunity to test the water a bit. You can try out different genres, you can try out different authors, you can try out different forms of storytelling without having to spend any money on it and without having any kind of strings attached to it. One that is hopefully going to go better this year than last year is to complete the Pop Sugar and the Buzzwordathon reading challenges. Both of those have just come out recently, so I have got my list of books that I want to concentrate on ready to go. But I didn't really gel so much with the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge last year. There were a lot of prompts that just didn't work for me and my reading taste, but this year is a lot more open. There are a lot more ways that I can make it work for me, so hopefully this one is going to be a bit of a better buzz this year. Speaking of buzz, the Buzzwordathon is also quite open, but I feel is often quite open, so that it will fit for a lot of genres and it will fit for a lot of reading tastes, and I am silently hopeful that this one's going to work for me too. My final 2 goals are all to do with NetGalley. As I said, I really need to cop on when it comes to using NetGalley, when it comes to requesting, when it comes to actually reading them, when it comes to leaving feedback. So my first goal with NetGalley is that I am only going to do 5 NetGalley requests per month. This will give me 60 requests across the whole year, and I can kind of work around with that. I can do 3 this month so I can do 8 next month, or I can do 8 this month so that I can only do 3 next month. I'm going to try and be a little bit more stringent with it though, because my NetGalley requesting is out of control, and that means that my NetGalley shelf itself is out of control. So I need to be more respectful of what the platform actually is and to use it for its intended purpose. Speaking of its intended purpose, to actually read the books that you are approved for, I'm going to keep the goal of reading 2 NetGalley books per month as a minimum. I almost did do that this year. I got 3/4 of the way through, but I want to actually get it done in 2025. I want to say that I have got those 24 books read. I even want to overstretch it if I can. But I really need to be more stringent with myself, and I really need to be more on top with it. Those are the reading goals that I have set for myself in 2025. What is one reading goal that you are hoping to concentrate on for the next year? If you'd love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me a green heart emoji to remind me that I need to stay on with NetGalley. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.